Hey guys, it's Jo and welcome back to Trauma Talk. So when I first launched this channel, I did a video about my experience with antidepressants, and I have not talked about medication or drugs in a while, and this is kind of a mental health channel, so I wanted to take a moment not to, add to the debate or give my opinion, quote unquote, but just to talk about my experience for what it's worth. I never wanted to be on any kind of mental medication ever. I grew up in the church, and the church, it was sort of seen as a failure of faith to take any kind of drugs. And that really stuck with me. Like, you just weren't strong enough, or you didn't have enough faith, or, so on and so forth. And so I was very shut down to the possibility of ever taking anything for anxiety, depression, PTSD, anything. But back in 2013, I reached a very, very, very low point after my house burned down for the second time. That's another story. And I had just broken up with my boyfriend at the time. And every sense I had of safety, which I had been trying really hard to kind of hold on to, had just been exploded by my house burning down. Everything I owned was gone. My family was just having a really hard time. I mean, everything was incredibly difficult. And that added on to the fact that I was just 2 years out of dealing with a sexual assault and an abusive relationship. And so I remember one day when I was sitting downstairs in my room, just staring at the wall, tears rolling down my face, feeling simultaneously absolutely nothing and absolutely everything. Like, I felt so much pain and also was completely numb. And I did not want to be alive. I had no motivation to move, but the only motivation I had to move was to get away from the pain, and the only option seemed like death. And I realized that that was not a healthy train of thought, and that one thing I had not tried, though I had tried everything else I could think of, was medication. And so I eventually went and talked to my doctor, who was very kind, and said, "You are absolutely dealing with clinical depression, and so let's try a couple things. Let's just try, an antidepressant and see how that works, and kind of go from there." And so I did. And I hated it. I hated being on it from a mental perspective. But after about 6 weeks, I realized what a difference in my life it was making, because it had some side effects. But it would take me from like a -10, where I was feeling nothing and everything and nothing but pain, to like a -2 or maybe a 0, where I at least could think. I at least could process thought. My only thoughts weren't self-harming or self-destructive or just like agony, And that was a ridiculous breath of fresh air, and something I didn't think was really possible. And from there, I have also been on anti-anxiety medication, and a medication that really helps with nightmares, which I would strongly suggest anyone dealing with PTSD and nightmares talk to their doctor about, which is called Prazosin, Prazosin, that seriously saved my sleeping life. It was referred to me by a Mayo Clinic doctor. So those are kind of 3 medications that I am on: an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, and this. It's actually a blood pressure medication that has been shown to help significantly lower your adrenal system activity, and it helped so much with my nightmares, I can't even tell you. And the internal debate I had with myself really came down to, I want to live. Like, I want to stay alive, and if that means the chemicals in my body are all kinds of off, are not functioning right, or even if I don't believe that, because I wasn't sure if I even believed in depression or anxiety or anything like that at the time, I know that I'm not going to make it. And I think it's better to be alive and have pharmaceutical help than not. That's just my 2 cents. That's my opinion. I'm not speaking for anyone else. And so that's where I am with it. So I take a few medications and they help. They help so much. They obviously don't fix things, but they clear a path that I am able to then deal with what I need to deal with. They clear a path so that every day is not like completely sinking in depression and staring at walls, feeling everything and nothing, crying. And so that I can actually like deal with what the root cause of that could be. So I can get out of bed and do things and try to address it and do other things that help. And same with anxiety. I have a really difficult time dealing with anxiety. Sometimes I'm crazy productive because of it, but it sucks, as many of you know, because it's like your chest being compressed all the time and like you're panicked and running from something and like something could jump out from every corner 24/7 and like you can't breathe, which is not a fun feeling. And so when it feels like that feeling is never going to end, I cannot think straight. Or even when I'm in that feeling of anxiety that's so intensified and so high, I cannot think straight. I cannot function. I can't do my work well. I can't do anything well. But medication helps lower that enough most days that I can do things better, that I can function better. Let me emphasize again that none of these things fix anything. They are just tools that allow me to be able to try to deal with the root cause of what causes it in the first place. Because I don't think I always felt like this. I think I always dealt with depression, honestly. I don't think I did. I know I did. I just never addressed it well through high school and college. And anxiety has been a much more post-trauma thing. And nightmares have been a post-trauma thing. But these medications don't have significant side effects in my life and really help me. And so I am incredibly grateful for them for the time being. I don't intend to be on them forever, but they really help now. And so I am thankful for them. And like I said, I know a lot of people are really against them, but if you have people in your life who tell you that you shouldn't talk to a doctor about medication because it's evil or bad or a personal failing or a lack of faith, I would say please don't listen to those people and please talk to someone about the possibility of medication if you think that is a good idea for you. If you think that that is a tool you might need temporarily or more long term, because it does help a lot of people. And there's a lot of debate about, especially in America, people being over medicated and so on and so forth. And I have no comment on that because I have no idea. I can just tell you from my own experience, some mental medications have been the difference between life and death for me. And they have not been happy pills or fix-it-all pills, but they have been great tools along the way. That's my 2 cents. What do you guys think about antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs and medications like that? I would love to know what you think because I know people have some very strong opinions in different directions. And what's right for me is going to be totally different for you, for someone else. This is not a statement of what I think anyone should do. Rather, I just think you should do whatever you think is best for you and not let anyone else's opinion dictate that. I am Jo Beckwith and this is Trauma Talk. I appreciate you listening. As always, before you leave, please hit subscribe or like if you're on Facebook. I would love to see you in my next video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one and the next one. I look forward to seeing you then. Please take care of yourselves. Until then.